I have met before. If I haven't met you, my name's Marla Stillwell, and I'm the County Extension Agent here in LaRue County at the Extension Office. And all of you know Claudette, right? Everybody knows Claudette.
Yeah.
We are doing something a little different this year. Most of you have been to our Cooking Through the Calendar program in the past. We decided to switch it up a little bit this year, and we are cooking with the community. And so each month we are cooking with a different leader or a different person in the community that we often partner with, or that you might find us working with in the community. And Claudette was like first on my list whenever I thought, because she's always asking me to come do things. So guess what? She got asked to return the favor today, and so Claudette will be doing kind of what I tell her to. Are you okay with that?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
I take directions.
Okay. And so if you want to go ahead and start, I'll kind of explain what you're doing while you're doing it, because we actually need those to get started with here in just a second. I always tease Claudette whenever I come to do a cooking class over here, because those of you that are familiar with this room, you know it's a community room, but there's no kitchen. So when I come, I feel like I bring everything but the kitchen sink, because that's the only thing that's in this room is a kitchen sink. So oftentimes we forget things, and we may just have to make it work, but I think we've gotten everything today. So hopefully this goes well. Our recipe today that we are making is pasta with steak and spinach. So hopefully you have a copy of our recipe calendar. This is put out by the Kentucky Nutrition Education Program, which Cooperative Extension works very closely with. And this calendar has been out for years, and so we are always excited to see what the recipes are going to be. So for the month of May, it is highlighting a beef recipe. Does anybody know what this is the national month of? Beef. Beef, that's right. This is the National Beef Month, and so we are proud to celebrate that by using beef in our recipe today. We are using a top sirloin choice cut of steak. And so just make a pile of them, and then we'll add them all together, because I'm going to have to chop the onion in just a second. And so we are using sirloin as a part of our recipe today, and this is pasta. So I'm going to try to kind of do several things at once so that this can all be done at the same time. You all just be patient with me, though. We're working with portable equipment here. So I am going to go ahead and put in the penne pasta that we're using in our skillet recipe. This is going to end up all going in the skillet later, but we're going to go ahead and boil this pasta. We're using a whole box, and this is just regular penne pasta. A great alternative to make this a little healthier is, of course, using whole grain pasta. Whole grain pasta is a little harder to find in some of our stores, especially here locally, but it is possible. You can find it, and it is a great way to get in some extra fiber and make an easy switch in something that you may not even really notice that you're eating something a little bit better for you. So I would encourage you to try whole grain pasta if you can find it. We're using just regular today. So while that boils, we are going to go ahead and get some olive oil heated up over here on this side, because we are going to start with cooking our peppers, onions, and then we'll add our steak in later. I've already kind of started chopping that, and we're cutting everything into strips. So think like fajitas. You've made fajitas before. You know, you cut your onions and your peppers into strips. I'm going to go ahead and start on this onion so I don't have to wash my hands too many times while we're doing this.
Leave the peppers out of mine.
We're gonna put it all in there, but you're welcome to pick out whatever you don't want.
Yeah, you go ahead and pick them out like I pick out the onions.
This is a versatile recipe, because you can add in and take out what you want. But we're gonna make it like it says today. So I'm just gonna use half of this onion, because this is a really big one. So Claudette is working on the peppers. If you all can see what she's doing over there, we're using red and green peppers. So this is also a colorful dish. In the schools, when I go in to teach nutrition to the kids, I always tell them that you need to eat the rainbow, and they always look at me funny. We always use the rainbow kind of as an example of eating a variety of foods, and so using a variety of colors is a good way to know if you're getting a variety of nutrients also. So by using different color vegetables, like the peppers, you're getting in some of those nutrients that maybe you can't find in other foods. But you could definitely use just green or just red, or you could even use purple. There's yellow, there's orange. So there's all kinds of colors of different peppers that you could add. so we're gonna just slice this into some slices. I'm gonna cut them kind of similarly in size to the way she cut the pepper, so that everything kind of cooks at the same time. And this was just a tablespoon of olive oil that we put into our skillet. And as you know, onions, if you cut your onion opposite of the layers that it grows in, then you have your strips all ready to go. So we're gonna see, this is a big skillet here. We're gonna get those in. How are we doing down there on the
I'm
pepper?
good.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and add these, because these will probably take a little bit longer. I had this really hot, and now it's, so.
I'm not sure how thick you wanted these.
That's fine. That's good. I cut the onion kind of similar in size, so you're doing a great job. While she's finishing that, I'm gonna go ahead and finish slicing this sirloin. So this is just we just had this freshly cut yesterday from the butcher. You can ask the butcher to do that for you, especially if you're needing a small amount like this, because a lot of times when you're buying steak, you may find them in multiple, like in a bulk package. If you're just needing something small like this, you can ask for them to cut you a fresh one, which is what we did yesterday. So this is sirloin. You could use other cuts of beef in this recipe, like the pre-cut, like fajita style strips would work well for this. You can sometimes find those already pre-cut if you want to take a step out of your cooking. Any cut of steak would be good in this. You want to look for something lean though. So sirloin is one of those cuts that's rather lean for this recipe. This is a great recipe for, it's got a good iron content because we're using this red meat. Anything with a high concentration of red meat, you're going to get a lot of iron out of it. So this is a great recipe for that. And this is just a pound of sirloin that we're chopping up for this. And I'm trying to do it similarly in size also so that it all cooks about the same time. We are going to get those veggies in there before we put the meat. So we've got the onions started. And this is one of those recipes where you've got lots of things going on at once. So Claudette, I appreciate your help.
Not a problem.
Before we put this steak in, we are going to season it with some dry seasonings that I've already pre-measured because when I'm talking and doing something else at the same time, I tend to forget what I'm doing. So I went ahead and measured those out, but I will be happy to tell you what we've got. So once you've go ahead and add those into our onions here. While I go wash my hands, since I did touch that raw meat, I'm going to go wash up real quick.
Well, that's just beautiful. It's supposed to be aesthetically pleasing, right? Mm-hmm.
Those peppers in with those onions. Claudette, if you want to kind of babysit this over here,
sure.
I'm going to let you kind of keep this stirred down so that we can start softening those, hopefully. I know, she's not an onion fan. It's okay.
Or peppers.
Oh, you don't like onions or peppers? Well,
I like the flavor.
Okay.
So
well, then we're good.
I'll pick the beef out.
Okay.
And the pasta.
Fair enough. So this steak, since I just washed my hands, I don't want to have to touch it again. So we're going to mix up some seasonings, and I'm going to have to look at my recipe here because it has quite a bit in here. We are going to be seasoning these with Italian seasoning, garlic powder, salt and pepper first. And so I've already kind of pre-measured these out. We're going to start with a tablespoon of garlic powder. We're going to use that other garlic powder later on. This is our black pepper and one of our salt. This is a teaspoon of salt, I believe. And then our Italian seasoning, we're doing a tablespoon of that. Let me make sure I'm getting it right. So I've went ahead and mixed those up, or measured those out. We're going to mix those up in this bowl. We're going to throw our steak in here and get it coated with this seasoning. And once those veggies are starting to soften, we may have to turn it up just a little bit. It was really hot a minute ago. And then we'll add the steak in.
Much fun, balls.
I know, right? Speaking of, this pasta's probably close to being done. So since the kitchen sink's all the way in the back, you all might have to excuse me while I have to go drain this, because we don't want to burn anybody.
Smells good.
That smells good. A lot of times, if you're trying to cut back on salt, you'd be amazed at how much just using fresh herbs and other spices can take the place of salt sometimes if you're trying to cut back. So try that if that's something that you are watching, which we did add a little salt into here, but not a lot. All right, let's check this out. Let's see where we are with this pasta.
Starting to sizzle a little bit.
Yeah, it's getting there. I always like to check my pasta by putting it on a cutting board and just feeling how tender it is, and it's there. So we don't want to overcook our pasta anymore. So I'm going to reserve 1 cup of this pasta water because we're going to use this to thicken the sauce that we make. Okay? Let's see if I can fit all this in here without having to leave it in the sink. A lot of pasta.
Really not even.
It's, yeah. I think we've about got all the water out of here. Let me go dump this out so that we aren't trying to spill this all over ourselves.
We could put in a clove of your herb.
There you go.
So if you want to learn about using herbs in the kitchen, Laura will be talking about that this month, the last Tuesday of the month at 5:30.
Awesome, that's great to know.
Oh, I missed the seed.
That's okay.
It's the principal thing.
Alright, let's to the back here. I'm gonna stick this back over here, although we're not gonna turn that back on. Our next step is to try to get that meat added to our skillet. So if do you feel like our vegetables are starting to get soft?
No.
No? There's a lot of them in there. We'll turn this up just a little bit more. We'll give that just a couple more minutes before we add that. This only has to cook for about 5 to 7 minutes. So when you feel like it's ready, we can add it. I think it's okay to go ahead and add that in there. Yeah. It'll make me a little spot there to add
That's
this
just
in.
exactly what I was gonna do.
And we're gonna go ahead and add that. And if you wanna kind of spread that around a little bit. You all smell it? Start to smell good?
The library always smells good for days after Marla's been here.
When cooking steak, I know a lot of you probably prefer your steak in different ways. Many prefer their steak still somewhat rare. When you're using small strips like this, it doesn't take as long to cook. But we do recommend trying to start using a meat thermometer just to train yourself on knowing when things are cooked to the safe temperature. So when you're cooking beef like this, you're looking for 145 degrees Fahrenheit in the center of the thickest portion. So we'll check that in a little bit whenever we feel like that's about ready, which it's just started. So while we're doing that, we're going to go ahead and whisk together the ingredients that are going to go into the dressing that we're going to, or the sauce that we're going to make. And I'm just going to use this bowl again. We are going to be adding, I need my list, which hopefully I brought. We're going to be whisking together a 1/3 cup of olive oil, which I've already got measured out here. So this is going to go on top of all of our meat and veggies here in just a little bit. We are going to also add 3 tablespoons of red wine vinegar and Dijon mustard, and this is going to be about a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. I did not measure this out.
Squirt.
Be a good squirt, yeah. And then also to this, we're adding in the other tablespoon of garlic powder, another teaspoon of salt, and then basil, which I've already added, or which I've already measured out. Okay, so more salt going in this one, but we are using this in a pasta dish, so kind of have to flavor that pasta just a little bit. So this is what we've got going on in here. But we're gonna be adding that pasta water that we reserved so that it'll thicken this up. The starch from the pasta is actually what helps thicken your sauce. So you can do that in place of adding a thickening agent that instead of adding it, you can just use the pasta water. Okay. So we're just waiting for all of this to come together.
It makes me nervous.
What makes you nervous?
This little
I don't know, it's a little
big
bit.
skillet on little.
That makes me think of a song, I won't sing it. That makes me think of a song, but I'm not gonna sing it
Why
right
not?
now. No, I don't know.
Give me a singing show.
Maybe later.
Private concert.
So instead of adding it into there, since we're kind of teetering on that, I think we'll just use this pot instead. But we're gonna wait for all of this to come together. I'm gonna turn this up again just a little bit. We're gonna go all the way up. Clean up my mess just a little bit. So we're also adding spinach to this recipe, which we just bought a bag of baby spinach that's already been washed. We're gonna add 3 cups of this to our pasta. That may seem like a lot, but spinach wilts once you put it in, so it won't seem like as much after it wilts. I'm gonna turn this back on. I'm gonna turn it on low.
It's like greens.
Like greens,
Yeah,
yeah.
you have
Mhm,
a mega
mhm.
amount of greens when you're cooking them, and it's
Right.
nothing when you're done.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add that pasta water into this dressing so it can start while it's still warm. We're gonna put that back on that pasta. And I've turned the heat back on low. Go ahead and add this in. A lot of seasonings and flavors in there. I'm going to measure out our spinach, which I'm going to use a measuring cup, but I usually just use a handful to make a cup. It's about the same. Oh, I've got to roughly chop this first. Hold that thought. I don't know if you all want these big, huge pieces, so we're going to roughly chop before we stick it in there. I don't know if you noticed, but we have different colored cutting boards up here. This is something else that we teach often when we do classes. The red cutting board was for meat. So in order to not cross-contaminate, we are trying to keep our veggies and our meats separately. So you notice I moved that one away so that I wasn't tempted to put these raw veggies back on that same cutting board. So that's just a simple thing you can do at home is find 2 different color cutting boards and use those as for, one for meats, one for vegetables.
I cannot cut like that.
Sure you can. Would you like me to show you?
Huh?
Would you like to learn?
How many classes of yours have I been to?
A lot.
A lot. I just have never practiced enough to get it down pat.
Yeah, it's okay. How are we looking there? Still needs a little bit more time on there.
Some more, it's still pretty pink.
So this is what we usually run into whenever we take a class on the road and we're not using an actual kitchen setup. Sometimes things just take a little longer to heat.
Good things come to those who wait.
Right, good things come to us. This is actually a pretty quick recipe to put together. You all saw how quick everything was kind of chopped and put in there. Especially if you're buying things already pre-cut, it's not going to take nearly as long. But all we're waiting for now is for the spinach to kind of do its thing. It's already starting to wilt, and then we'll add all of this in once it has time to kind of. It's still a bit rare right now, so we're going to let that continue to cook. Right. What other vegetables can you all think of that would be good in this recipe? What else would you all like? Mushrooms would be good. Yeah, we're getting into that growing season, so you might find yourself having extra vegetables that you could add in, so maybe squash or zucchini. Is that what you were going to say? Yeah, that would be good.
Now,
Lots of
the
things.
zucchini, is there more water in that?
There is a lot of water in zucchini, so, but the same with the peppers. The peppers have a lot of water content in them also. It kind of cooks out. The zucchini would be more probably, but it would still perfectly. But we're adding water back in there, so it would probably be fine. While we're waiting on this to finish cooking, since this is taking a little bit longer than I expected. You all heard me talk about My Plate before. This is a great recipe that fills in all of these requirements as a part of a healthy lifestyle or a healthy meal. So whenever you sit down to eat a meal, I always try to help to teach people to envision their plate to look like this one. Half of your plate should always be full of fruits and vegetables, which in this case we are using vegetables, the onions, the peppers, the spinach is kind of filling that requirement. Your protein, of course, is being filled by all that good steak that we put in there. Your grain is your pasta that we're using. And then, of course, we're going to top this off with none other than cheese. So we are going to have our dairy in here as well. The cheese is optional. If that's something that you would rather not add, you can always leave that part out. But there's not very many recipes that I leave cheese out of if I have the choice. Right?
Still got
We're getting there, though.
some kink, so.
Let's check one of these and see where we're at. These are kind of thin, so it may be hard to tell. Yeah, try to poke this in the center of this meat. It needs a little bit longer. But we're getting there. So this is just taking a little bit longer than maybe it would. Yeah, I think all. I know Caleb was in here. We just had to figure it out. That's right.
Move tables into the hallway.
We
It worked.
got a lot of looks.
And I also learned some things about where to go to keep the fuses back on.
Here to help. That's what I'm here to do. But this alone looks good to me. I don't know about you all, but I can put that just like it is. Yeah. But I'm a pasta fan for sure. So we're just waiting on that to finish up. Let's see what else I can share with you all that it talks about in our. The nice thing about these the calendar recipes is that it also gives you some ideas on how to make it more of a complete meal. So we talked about the My Plate. The only thing that was missing in this recipe was a fruit, and so it tells you here, suggesting to pair it with some oranges. That would be good with this meal. Other fruits would be good as well. The ingredient spotlight, it always spotlights an ingredient here, and it's usually a fruit or vegetable that it highlights. And so this month it's highlighting spinach, and it tells you some facts about spinach. Spinach is high in vitamin A, of course, so it's important for vision. You've always heard about Popeye eating spinach, right? So I think that's where that comes from. Substitution ideas, it always gives you some ideas of substitutions. This is saying you could always use kale or Swiss chard, which are also dark leafy vegetables that you can use. Dark leafy greens, I'm sorry. And it also suggests using chicken or shrimp in place of the steak. If you're not a steak lover or a steak is out of your budget, then you can use something a little bit more budget friendly. Of course, our calendar also gives encouragement to be physically active, so that's what the little check boxes are. But hopefully you all have a copy of this to take home, and you can use that. Go back and make some of the other recipes that maybe you've missed. Let's see, which one's been our favorite? Last month we made cowboy skillet. Did anybody try this after we made it? Yeah?
Yeah, that's been my favorite.
Okay, good. Yeah, that one was good. We made this one with at the senior center last month. We've also made shrimp creole. This is the one we made with kale, which I know he was mentioning to you on the radio yesterday. We've made pot sticker meatloaf, and this month we also highlighted venison since it was deer season. We made venison meatloaf along with this one, and so that one was kind of fun to make. And then in January it was white chicken chili, and of course that's always good. Next month, be sure to join us in June at Vibe Coffee. We are going to be highlighting banana blueberry treats. If you've ever been to our local coffee shop, they have lots of yummy treats in their bakery case. And so we're excited to try this one. And I've asked them to maybe share one of their recipes also, of something that they might would like to share with you also. One of our employees at Vibes, I don't know who it's going to be yet, but they're going to be cooking with me next month. All right, what are we thinking now?
I'm thinking you want me to leave the lid off and let it cook down now?
Well, we can add those
Or do you
juices
want
in
to?
here, it's
Okay.
okay. Let's see if we can find a
Okay.
thick piece here to check.
I think it's finally getting there.
I think we're getting there too.
Vegetables are starting to get a little bit soft.
This is harder than it looks. This is like putting a safety pin in something that's, like. We'll find a thicker piece.
I just be like, well, it's not pink anymore, it's done.
Yeah. Okay.
Who said that? That's me. Right?
Yeah.
It's like,
We're good. It's over 148, so we are good on food safety as far as that goes, so we should be good. So do you want me to do this part?
No,
Okay, dump that in here and then we'll mix this all together and we'll be ready to add the cheese, which is our last step.
that handle
Is it
is
loose?
a little iffy.
No, we might need to invest in a new skillet, huh? I was gonna bring my cast iron skillet, but I was afraid it wasn't gonna be big enough and I don't think it would have
Tighten
been.
this one, probably.
So I'm gonna mix all this together, and then we're going to add our half cup of Parmesan cheese. You can also use mozzarella or feta. Feta cheese would be good with this.
Do you want the liquid?
Yeah, be fine. That's where all the flavor is.
Right, well, I want to be sure. I don't want to mess up the pasta.
I'm not gonna mess it up. I can move this longer.
Get that off. Yes.
Alright, so we're gonna try to mix all this together. This big pot was a good idea. I don't think this all would have fit in that skillet.
No.
So maybe word to the wise, use bigger skillets, bigger pots if you have them at home. If you're gonna make this at home, this makes quite a bit, so. This would make enough for, I think it's enough for 10 full-size servings, so. You could pair this with a good hearty garden salad and some type of bread inside of it. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna add in a half a cup of cheese to garnish the top, and then we'll be ready to plate it up and serve you guys.
I just pour it all in there and get it all.
Pour it all in.
Yeah, just pour it all in.
You can't have too much cheese, right?
Well, how about I leave it here on the table and you can add some more after that. Turn this off.
Well, you've got a baker's dozen people here today.
All right, well, we're excited for you all to try this. After you give it a try, there is a QR code on the page of your calendar that this recipe is on. We welcome your feedback on what you thought about the recipe, and we always ask for things else that you'd like to learn how to make. So, or other things you'd like to see in future calendars. So, thank you all for joining us today, and we're gonna plate this up, and you guys come on up and give it a try.